Alright, hi guys, welcome back to PKFX YouTube trading channel. So this will be our usual weekend game plan. It's pretty much Sunday right now and the market is closed, and I've already shortlisted a few currency pairs over here. It's about 11-12 currency pairs over here that I'm interested in taking a trade for the upcoming days. So as usual, we're going to go through one by one for the higher time frames to see what the market is showing us, right? For the weekly, for the daily, and the 4-hour. So without further ado, I'd like to start off with the first currency pair, EURUSD. So EURUSD right now, weekly is a sell, this being the lower low, this being the lower high, and we can see that it is pretty much forming like a dome structure over here. It has already broken the weekly EME and it's headed towards the downside. And right now, last week, the market also closed below the round psychological number of 1.14 thousand, right? So my expectation is obviously a continuation to the downside to have some sort of sell towards this next area that I'm interested in. So that is weekly. Weekly is a sell. And if I look at daily, same thing. This is the lower low. This is the lower high. And the market only now making some sort of a pullback, I would say a very small pullback back into this area that it broke. And my expectation is for it to roll over and eventually go towards the downside. And if I look at the 4-hour candlestick, it has pretty much made a lower low. This is the lower high. So this was the lower low. And it had the retracement, came very nicely to the 4-hour EME and had a very strong engulfing rejection candle that has also closed below this particular area and below the round psychological number. Now, most probably when the market opens, if we are right in terms of the market direction, this may eventually rally all the way down as a continuation pattern, because the weekly is a sell, the daily is a sell, the 4-hour is a sell, the bias is going to be towards the sell side. I see that this is my entry that I'm interested in. In fact, if I go to the lower time frames, let's say for example, if I go to the 30 minutes candlestick, I can clearly see that the market made a higher high, higher low, higher high, and it actually broke the structure completely in a very beautiful way, whereby this was the moment where it shifted back again into a sell, right? This particular candle broke below, shifted the structure into a sell for the 30 minutes candlestick, and then it had a pullback, an indecision candle, and then an engulfing candle there again. Ideally, this would have been a fantastic entry point. However, it was Friday night and the market has already closed. Now, opening Monday morning, we could also say this is sufficient information to go straight into a sell, but obviously, I do not want to rush into the market immediately. I want to see how the market opens. But yeah, EURUSD, I'm interested in a continuation for the sell towards the downside. And if at all the market opens and something else happens, then it is not our trade. We move on to the next trade, right? So EURUSD sell, and now I'm moving on to the next trade, which is AUDJPY. Now, AUDJPY on a weekly basis, right? If I were to zoom in, we can see that this particular chart has been rallying for quite some time, all the way up, right? All the way up, and maybe, just maybe, the market has probably reached the top portion and it's now reversing back again. Now, I don't know if that is the case, but what I can see from the market right now, the EMA of the weekly is way below down here. And ever since then, the market has not really given me proper structure points on a weekly basis. All I see is daily structure points that are solid, that I've been creating some zones over here for potential entry for trades. But on a weekly perspective, it's really hard for me to say. But what I can see now, the weekly is a sell now, this being the lower low, and over here being the lower high. This structure point is the lower high. So I've already marked my weekly over here in terms of these two lines, right? So if I were to like really zoom in, we can see this, that the market has already broken the up structure and came down. So weekly is a sell right now. And if I go to daily, and if I zoom in nicely, we can see that also the daily, this being the lower low and this being the lower high. So the daily has also broken the daily EMA and came all the way down to this particular area over here, which is a daily support. And right now, it is actually in the middle right now. It is pretty much trying to break below as well. So daily is also a sell, weekly bias is a sell, daily bias is a sell. And if I look at the 4-hour, the 4-hour actually did break below and then came back up again, created a beautiful candle over here that is curving, right? So this sort of formation, I believe they call this evening star formation. I would say this is like a doji and then a reversal candle, right? This usually when it happens over here or over here like this, it is an indication that the market is going to continue towards the downside. Not necessarily, but this is a pattern that I've seen it play time and time again. Now, bear in mind, the same pattern did just happen over here, but it did not, follow the trend down. It actually went all the way up back again. So yeah, it is not a confirmed thing that when you see this kind of pattern over here, it's going to rally towards the downside. That's why we always got to set the stop loss to where it makes sense, right? We want to make sure that our stop loss is set so that we can manage our risk. And in case if we are wrong, if similar pattern play out again, at least we are not losing a big amount. However, having said that, the 4-hour is also a sell. And to me, having the weekly sell, the daily sell, the 4-hour sell, if I see the market starting to break towards the downside, any form of a break below and a retest would tell me as a continuation pattern to go towards the downside. So I'd be interested in AUDJPY for a sell that I'll be looking closely. And my take profit, in fact, is marked somewhere around here because I see that the next daily structure point is coming over here. So this may be a potential area where the market reverses. So I want to make sure that I'm taking profit before that. This particular trade can be a beautiful 1 to 3 risk to reward from what I see over here, depending on how we enter the market, right? So AUDJPY is a potential sell. Now, moving on to the next trade, GBPJPY. In fact, I have a few JPY pairs over here. GBPJPY, same thing. I see a sell over here. So if I look at the weekly, if I were to zoom it properly, so the weekly, this one is technically a buy, this being the higher high and this being the higher low. And you can see this line over here, the weekly line has not been broken, so it is a buy. This is the higher high, so this is still a buy, right? So weekly bias is a buy. Daily, however, is a sell. This is the lower low and this is the lower high. It broke below the daily EMA. It broke below the round psychological number of 214.000, and I see that it is coming back to retest this area to confirm. From what I see, it's to confirm before pushing towards the downside. So daily is a sell. And the 4-hour right now, well, technically, this is the higher high, this is the higher low. Market tried to break but haven't broken yet. So this 2 line is still valid over here. Technically, 4-hour is still a buy as well. But what I see here is I wanted to, the market, this blue line over here is what I draw previously. I wanted the market to come back and retest before a continuation towards the downside. And from this candle onwards, that is exactly what the market did. It pretty much came all the way up here. And I see that the 4-hour EMA is holding and it's kind of rejecting and going below. So if I look at this pattern right now, it is very interesting for me in terms of a potential sell, right? Understanding that if I'm taking a sell over here, I'm following the daily, but I'm not really following the weekly. The weekly is still a buy. So in this case, this will be a counter trend trade. The next pair will be NZDJPY. So NZDJPY at a weekly, it is a sell. So this is the lower low. Over here is the lower low and this is the lower high. And as you can see, it is pretty much touching the weekly EMA, which can be a very potential location for a strong bounce, right? Unless it breaks below this weekly EMA, then potentially a very strong sell can also happen, right? But from what I see, this area over here, this box that I've drawn over here, whenever market is below, it dumps down. Whenever the market is below, it tends to dump down. And whenever the market is below, it dumps down. But whenever the market is coming from above, it pumps. Whenever the market is coming from above, my expectation is for it to pump, right? Following what I see when I look at the left, right? So the weekly is a sell. The daily is also a sell. This being the lower low and this being the lower high. The daily is also a sell, right? The 4-hour is also a sell. So this is also a sell. So weekly, daily, 4-hour is a sell, and I'm expecting some sort of a strong bounce towards the upside, right? So this is a counter trend trade, very risky compared to other AUDJPY pair, GBPJPY pair. This is way more riskier because everything is indicating a sell. Last thing we know, the market could literally just come downwards and that's it, right? But if we choose to buy here, go for the counter trend trade, we gotta understand that the 4-hour EMA is gonna come in as a resistance at one point of time that we gotta break above and keep rallying towards the upside. Now, what will make me wanna go towards the buy would be the 4-hour candlesticks to be printing something like this above this particular zone, and a pullback would be a good continuation trend towards the upside, right? So gotta look closely over here. If you have multiple JPY pairs, try not to take a few JPY pairs. Just try to take the best JPY pair that you think makes the most sense, right? This is what I would think, right? So yeah, NZDJPY is a counter trend trade. I'm looking for a buy, and the main buyers for that is because of the weekly and in where the market position is beautifully touching the weekly EMA. So this week I'm expecting some sort of a bounce like this, right? That is what I'm expecting. Not necessarily will happen, but that's what I'm expecting. Next is EUROJPY, another pair of JPY. So EUROJPY over here, the weekly, if I were to zoom in, the weekly over here is a buy. This being the higher low and this being the higher high. The market never broke these two lines ever since then. So my weekly still stands. This is the buy, right? And if I look at the daily, and if I were to zoom in, I can see that the daily, this is the lower low, this is the lower high. So daily is a sell. In fact, it looks like some sort of a head and a shoulder, like a deformed head and shoulder kind of stuff that broke towards the downside. So any sort of a pullback, maybe there will be a strong rally towards the downside, a continuation pattern towards the downside as well. Now, this doesn't really look that beautiful, but I'm looking for a potential sell here, daily being a sell and weekly, a 4-hour also being a sell, and how the 4-hour, this being the lower low, this being the lower high, and how it beautifully rallied all the way up here, couldn't break this area, couldn't break this box, and then the next candle printed immediately covered the entire candle, invalidating this candle, and now it's printing towards the downside, where it closed below the 4-hour EMA and below the round psychological number of 184.500 as well. So that's why I'm looking for a potential trade towards the downside, bearing in mind that this is also technically a counter trend trade because the weekly is a buy, but I'm trying to sell, right? I'm trying to go with the daily and the 4-hour, but the weekly is a buy, so still a counter trend trade. So yeah, we have a few JPY pairs that I'll be looking closely at. Overall, I'm expecting JPY to be like a sell for this week because it looks a bit weak, but I'll see which pair gives me the best confluences and the best market position, and I'll enter accordingly. Next would be AUDCHF. Now, AUDCHF, for this particular pair, if I were to zoom in, the weekly is pretty much a sell right now, and this is the trade that we took twice and we lost twice, and eventually the market, again, it pretty much wicked me out over here as well. I wouldn't categorize this as weak out, but you know, like my stop loss was pretty close. When I zoom in, we can see better. But weekly is a sell right now, a strong rejection candle from this area. This might just be the potential highest point that it went, and now the market is reversing, right? So weekly is a sell. If I look at the daily, now this is a better interpretation, right? I had two losses back to back, and the market is now going towards my direction. It is pretty sad to look at this. So we were right in terms of the market direction so far, but we were never right in terms of when we entered the trade. The market pretty much just was ranging over here, chopping and killing all the trades that was taken in these particular areas. And to be fair, this is what we don't want the market to do when we are a trader, right? Taking a trade, right? We want to be like setting our stop loss where when it hits us, we are completely wrong and the market rallies all the way to the opposite direction. So that way I'll be happy that, hey, it's okay if I took the trade. And even this trade, right? Like same thing. It did go up, but it didn't rally all the way up to the next zone that I was interested in. It actually reversed back again. This is indicating that our direction was indeed right, but it's just that the market was still cooking. It was still, pretty much liquidating people left and right before it eventually goes to our direction. Now, I identified another zone over here while this was brewing. So all these touch points over here now pretty much formed another daily area of interest over here for me that I've marked over here as this box. And the market pretty much has reversed now. The daily, this is a lower low, this is the lower high. So weekly is a sell, daily is also a sell. And the 4 hour, if I look closely, even the 4 hour is technically a sell. This being the lower low, this being the lower high, and the market did break below and did come above now. So this is beautiful now for another sell over here. Notice that I've placed a take profit similar to the last trades as well. And the reason being is because if I were to zoom out on these trades, we can clearly see that I want to get out before this particular structure point over here. So the last two trades also, my my take profit was before hitting this particular structure point over here, because this is a location where the market can potentially have some sort of a bounce, right? So that is exactly the same take profit zone that I've marked over here for this potential trade once again. And in fact, I feel like this particular trade has already brewed out. If I go to the lower time frame, the 30 minutes candlestick, but not yet, right? The market, if I look at the 30 minutes candlestick, this is the lower low, and then when the market printed this became the new higher high, higher low, and then all this, this was the new lower low, and then shifted back into a higher high. Now 30 minutes shifted back into a buy over here, higher low, higher high, and it is still buffering over here. So technically this is the 30 minutes structure point that needs to be broken before the market shifts from a buy into a sell, where I'd be confident to enter this particular trade. So that's the lower time frame analysis, right? So for now, this can immediately play out when the market opens today itself. I wouldn't rush into this particular trade because I've already taken 2 trades before this, and both of it, I could say I got wicked out. I could say that I got wicked out over here. So I'll be very patient for this particular trade, but AUDCHF is a potential sell. That's what I'm seeing. Still the same analysis as per the last 2 trades. Moving on to NZDCAD on a weekly basis. Now NZDCAD, this particular trade, if I were to see this, weekly is a sell, this being the lower low, this being the lower high. So it is a sell, but the structure doesn't look very impressive to me. It looks a little choppy, not so straightforward. So not my immediate trade that I'll be interested in. However, the weekly is a sell, the daily is also a sell. It has rallied all the way down here. The round psychological number of 0.80,000 is still holding. And if I go to the 4 hour candlestick pattern, the 4 hour right now is technically a sell as well. So this being the lower low when the market closed, and this being the lower high, the market is still rallying towards the downside. If the market breaks below and confirms a few 4 hour candles below the round psychological number of 0.80,000 and then comes back again to this zone and then shows me an indication of reversal towards the downside, then yeah, I'll be interested in entering NZDCAD for a, right? Moving on to the next pair, GBPUSD. Now, GBPUSD, this particular trade, the weekly is a sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high, right? If I were to put it in proportion, yeah. So this being the lower low and this being the lower high, weekly is a sell, and it has already broken below the weekly EMA, and it has broken below and closed below this particular box over here, which is the area that I'm interested in selling, right? I understand that every time the market comes and touches this, it bounces towards the upside. Every time it touches this, bounces to the upside. Touches here, bounces to the upside. So there is a chance for it to bounce completely to the upside this particular week as well. But the weekly bias is a sell. And if I go to the daily bias, if I'm going to zoom in nicely, is technically also a sell. It has clearly broken below and confirmed below 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, right? 4 days below here. So any sort of a pullback now, I'll be looking for a potential sell. Weekly sell, daily sell. The 4 hour, because it's rallying towards the upside, this should be a buy here. So the daily, this being the higher high, this being the higher low. So if any sort of formation that comes back up here and touches beautifully on this 4 hour EMA, then a break below I can consider for a potential sell. This is what I'm looking at for GBPUSD for a potential sell. Moving on to the next pair, which is AUDUSD. Okay, so AUDUSD on a weekly basis is still a buy, this being the higher high and this being the higher low. And right now, last week, it almost came back over here, trying to retest this particular higher low. And if it breaks below this particular line and closes below this particular line this week, then weekly will turn into a sell. But unless otherwise it does that, the weekly is still a buy. I see that the EMA is also coming in as a support over here, right? If I look at the daily is a strong sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high. And if I go to the 4 hour as well, the 4 hour is also a sell. I can see that the market has broken below, came back and created an indecision doji and then went back down again. This was the previous trade that I pretty much got out, called this still as a week out. This trade is purely my mistake, I would say, because the stop loss ideally should be bigger, but I'm unable to put a big stop loss because of the take profit region. I would say that this particular trade, now I'm pretty much aiming for the same thing as well, but this is not as one of my top trades, right? Because I've already gotten burnt out from this particular trade. I do see that the market is reversing nicely. Maybe it will just rally all the way down as well, I don't know. But I understand that this is a counter trend trade, so I'm not going to keep it high up here. I'm going to bring it down as pretty much my last trade in option, right? Now, GBPAUD will be the next trade I want to look at. So GBPAUD, this looks pretty beautiful. I would say the weekly is a sell, right? This being the lower low, this being the lower high. And ever since the market touched over here at this bottom, the market has been rallying upwards. In fact, it broke this particular zone as well. So I'm looking at a potential rally all the way towards the upside. Now, the daily is technically a buy, right? The daily has been going towards the upside. When the market opens, maybe or most probably the market can just rally and hit TP, and if that happens, we miss the trade, right? But if the market do pull back and come back over here, I see a beautiful round psychological number of 1.90 thousand. I see the daily EMA brewing up as well, coming in to act as a support. So any form of a pullback and a beautiful turnaround would give me a good potential opportunity for a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward for a buy. Understanding that the weekly is a sell, this will be a counter trend trade. This looks like a good trade, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to in fact bring it all the way up here and make it as my second best trade over here that I'm looking closely at before the JPY pass. Now, next is EURGBP. So EURGBP, if I go on a weekly basis, the market has pretty much been killing everyone for the past few weeks. Right now, technically speaking, the weekly is a sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high. And that entire thing just happened in this particular candle. So not really one of my top pairs as well. The weekly is a sell. The daily is also a sell. If I were to zoom in, the market has not really broken. It is equal to this particular point over here. Therefore, this point is still valid. I would say the daily is also a sell, this being the lower low, this being the lower high, right? So weekly sell, daily sell, and if I look at the 4 hour, the 4 hour is a buy right now, but this strong upward candle got rejected or engulfed by the next strong sell candle. So I want to see how the market opens. I can see a potential sell here, but like, to be fair, I really need the market to break below and then come back again to retest and then continue towards the downside. I don't know if I'll get that opportunity, but yeah, EURGBP, I'm looking for a sell. And finally, another pair is USDCHF. I want to look at gold as well, but USDCHF, this pair over here, this weekly is a buy, this being the higher high, this being the higher low. If I were to zoom a little bit more, I can see a beautiful shoulder, head and shoulder and break. So any form of a pullback would be a head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder retest pattern, retest neckline pattern. The market can also choose to rally all the way up here because it has already broken the weekly EMA as well. Weekly is a strong buy. Daily also looks like it is a strong buy, right? This being the higher high, this being the higher low. Daily EMA is way far ahead over here. But what is interesting is the last Friday, it closed with a very strong doji rejection candle. So this can also start rallying towards the upside as well, because it may just hold around psychological number of 0.81,000. If the market chooses to dump below and come back over here, that would be even more great, because now I have another stronger round psychological number of 0.80,000. I probably will have the daily EMA growing up as well to act as a support, and it can also retest the previous structure point. So there's a lot of confluences that will be gluing up nicely if the market chooses to dump downwards immediately when the market opens, something like this. And then I'll be interested in a potential buy as well. Now, what I see here, the market can also choose to ignore that and continue to rally. Again, this is not one of my favorite pair, because for me to take profit, to make the 1 to 2 reasonable, it has to go way deep inside this particular zone. I don't want to do that. But if at all the market starts to rally all the way towards the upside, then I can actually draw this take profit to be some sort of a swing trading take profit that can go all the way up here, but it has to go through all this resistance before it reaches up here. But that can be a 1 to 4.5 risk to reward. Now, bear in mind that's not going to happen within 1 or 2 days. Probably it will take quite some time before the market can rally up there. In that case, we may need to hold the trade for a week or so. That will all purely depends on the swap charges, the fees, and etc., right? So that's why USDCHF is also not in my top pairs up here, but I'm still watching it closely. But I'm looking for a potential buy for USDCHF. And finally, I would like to look into gold. Now, gold is pretty interesting to me. I wanted to sell gold up here, but I missed that particular point. In fact, I got wicked out. I couldn't take a big position for gold at that point of time. But the direction overall did go all the way down. It could have been a massive win for me, but it is what it is. So I have to look forward now on what is about to happen to gold. And from what I see, the weekly, this is the lower low, and this is the lower high. The market has been just trending downwards, pretty much dumping, right? Gold is like pretty much dumping hard ever since the top over here during the euphoria, somewhere around 5,600, right? So ever since then, and this another local top, the market has been rallying towards the downside. In fact, it even broke the weekly EMA. So gold looks extremely weak right now. The weekly is a sell. The daily is also a sell. I see that the daily lower low is here and the lower high is here, and it broke my particular zone over here, broke below, came back and retest, kind of closed above. So I don't know what to say yet, but daily is also a sell, weekly is a sell, and even the 4 hour is a sell. So this being the lower low and this being the lower high, and the market had a good push towards the upside, did close the 4 hour candle above this particular box over here, which is a good sign, but the 4 hour EMA is coming up close. The round psychological number of 4,100 is above as well. So gold may just get another push towards the downside. The only thing I see gold that is holding from below is the round psychological number of $4,000. That is an extremely strong whole round number that can act as a support. But to be fair, the weekly is a sell, the daily is a sell, the 4 hour is a sell. I'm interested for a sell. And if I go to the 30 minutes candlestick to see it for a potential entry option for a sell for a goal, this being the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, the market is still rallying towards the upside. In order for me to enter for a sell, I need the lower time frame to show its hand first. Therefore, I need this particular structure point to be broken. When this particular structure point in a 30 minutes candlestick pattern is broken, the EMA of the 30 minutes candlestick is also broken, then I'll be interested for a sell, because for my particular trading portfolio, I need to make sure that I'm not risking more than 1% when it comes to gold, right? And for me, that will be about 35 pips over here for gold. But yeah, that is exactly what I'm looking for gold. Potentially a sell, unless this $4,000 round psychological number do hold up as a very strong support and gold starts rallying all the way up here, continuation all the way and breaking above this 4 hour lower high, changing it into a higher high, then that's it. Probably I wouldn't enter this trade, but if gold becomes weak and it breaks below, then I'll be interested for a sell, because the weekly is a sell, the daily is a sell, the 4 hours is a sell. Logically, I want to sell gold following the trend. So yeah, that's about it. That's pretty much all the trades that I'm looking at for the upcoming days. Now there's about 12 pairs over here. I'm just interested in about 2 or 3 pairs that gives me the best confluences, that is going to show me its hand first. Then I'll probably enter the trade, probably 4 trades, but I don't want to take too much of trade. I want to try and focus on good quality trades, and let's see what the market has to offer. All right guys, so that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time, and all the very best for the upcoming days, and good luck. Thank you. Take care.